got more people into the room that was not here this morning. But Reverend Tracy was very clear. She said we were going to give you breakfast and we're going to give you lunch. So I believe that you are in the midst of your lunch. But more importantly is the information that's being dropped. And I thought about when I was talking to Reverend Adams earlier, the two women who were out on Saturday night, one celebrating a birthday, ended up being hacked up and put into a bag by a person who had made her night a real rough night. And the other young lady who was in fact also in the theater district, and they tracked the person through the MBTA train and found that she was in his house and he lived in Charlestown. Now why do I use those things? Because that is sexual assault. It happens and we don't think it's gonna happen. And first of all, we don't think it's gonna happen to me. Because the fact is that you don't know, you turn your head, whatever, somebody puts something in your drink or whatever. Somebody else has a different agenda than your agenda. That's why the brochures that were created are so vitally important, because we just don't know. You don't know what's going on in somebody else's head. And so what we're doing now is just raising your level of awareness. We've been doing this now for 5 years. We've been around the country. The Department of Justice has invested. And Tracy, we've got 20 plus years that you've been doing this work. So I'm the new kid on the block. But I want to share with everybody in this room, which I don't think that you do know, the relationship that Tracy and I have. We are the standard, gold standard in the National Urban League. Because people want to know, why is it that it works so well with us here in Boston? It's because I get it. And I think now that I'm so grateful that we have this information, the other CEOs are trying to get it. Because all they want to think about sometimes, and I'll say it just very plainly, this is not about the money. It really is about the work. It's about the people and their lives that are changed because of the information that we're changing. So my elongated welcome is really to say to you that we are invested into this work. We are very, very committed, and we believe that, as we say in our National Urban League mind, how we empower communities and change lives. We empower communities because we're giving them knowledge. We are changing their lives because we're letting them know. You just came up there and you said you didn't realize that 1 out of every 6 males are impacted by domestic violence. And you just got that from the brochure. Because we don't think about men being victims, but they are. And so we want to make sure that everybody walks out of here with a more roundabout knowledge and an interest and a desire to know that this is real. You don't have to suffer in silence. But what you can do is that when you're informed, you become more observant. But here's where I think it helps us. It's the confidentiality. You have a resource. The resources are here. They will be able to provide you not only from the legal standpoint of view, from the spiritual standpoint of view, from the social, and also from the safety and judicial. That's what we do here. So I think thank you for taking the time out of your day and allow me to spend a few moments with you. And I do apologize that there's a lot of trains that go through South Station. And I'm dealing with all of them. So I want to thank you so much for allowing me to spend a few moments with you to say enjoy the rest of the day. And this shirt that I've been given, I've got 3 requests from other staff.
And several in the room. So we're going to do a one right away. We'll send around an email.
They didn't come to you, they came to me.
So we're going to get it done. We're going to get it done.
I ain't going to call out no names, but they're just right behind you.
You just looking in my direction.
They're taking right behind you. They ain't calling out names.
We had no idea they were going to go over so well, we would have done it on a larger scale. So we'll get it done.
They think this song is about them. So let me bid you adieu and enjoy the rest of the afternoon. And I'm looking forward. I know Darnell is going to do great with his spoken word.
He's amazing.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, but they're recording it, and so I'll get a chance to take a look at it. But I'll leave you guys in capable hands, and thank you, Reverend Tracy.
Thank you so much, Darnell. Thank you. So for those of you that are not were not here this morning, we started off this morning really just saying that April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. That's why we're here. We really wanted an opportunity to celebrate the courage and strength of victims and survivors who pass through our program and ask us for help, and to whom we are able to provide services. So some of those victims and survivors come to us by way of referrals directly from our staff here at Urban League. So I'm going to ask William Watkins, or Watts as he's more affectionately known.
We didn't know that.
Oops. We go back a long way, so I'm okay to say that.
Yeah.
So he's going to come and give us a few words before he has to rush off to a meeting, and then we'll move on with our agenda. Sir. You're welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is William Watkins. I'm the Director of Workforce Development here at the Urban League. This is personal for me. My sister was murdered by her husband, and I say it that way because that's the pain, and I'm releasing that. And I always have to be reminded of that, so when individuals come through these doors, you don't know what pain they carry. You know, I'm listening to the radio, television today, and they're talking about this young kid's head being severed. That was domestic violence. They were fighting over a young girl. So you don't know what coping skills a person has when they're dealing with love and loss. And when those two L's come together, you need that bridge between the two. So events like this is to help you with that bridge between the two, between that love and loss. And how do you cope? Because believe me, there's days I go back to that loss. And I got to figure out how can I get back to the other side of that. And things like this help me get through those days. You know, events like this help me get through those days because I'm hopefully getting across to someone in here that may be on that other side of that bridge. And sometimes when you're on the side of that love bridge, sometimes you're in the wrong space. You might be loving the wrong person. You know, every time, as they say, you know, there's a season. Sometimes you're only supposed to be there for a certain amount of time, and sometimes we overstay our welcome. But, you know, I thought it was very important that when Tracy brought the program to the Urban League, to intertwine it into our program. Very important, because we're talking about training, but just imagine, here it is, an individual at work. So at some point in time, you're in your workplace, and you're going between that love and loss, and sometimes you can't even get through your day. You have to go into an office, the Tracy office, and sit down and try to work it out. And so sometimes we don't even use the mental professionals that we have at some of our workplaces. Some of us have, you know, health insurance that allows for that. And that's a stigma in our own community. Going and sitting down with a therapist. But sometimes you need that. Especially when you don't have the coping skills or the loved ones around you that's going to support and embrace you. Sometimes you need that third party. You know, so it was very important for me personally to make sure that our programming had that wraparound service that I can tell you it's not happening at any other program in the city, that we are able to provide this sort of training to our individuals so that they learn how to go between the LL, between that love and loss. So I want to thank Tracy and her team for putting this on, and I'm very grateful to you and your team. And I'm saying that for the many families that are in here and the ones that are sure to come. So I want to thank you.
earlier. And so, I love what you said about wraparound services, because that wraparound services is the language of this work. And so because we have providing wraparound services, we can't do that without community partners. And so I have some partners who work with me on the project, and I'll introduce you to them in just a few minutes, but I want to introduce you to one of our community partners in the person of Ronald Mays, who was a native of Dorchester, and who was introduced to Safe Havens Interfaith Partnership Against Domestic Violence many years ago when I was a TA provider for the Department of Justice. He facilitated community trainings with me, supported me as I worked with faith leaders in domestic violence and sexual assault. And Ron continues to volunteer for Safe Havens, and works alongside of the Associate Director, Allison Morse-Katzman, in many different capacities, including emceeing an annual event that they have. But in 2013, he was inspired to start volunteering a couple of times a month. And so he's had some training, he's done some informal events as well as some formal ones. He does supportive services with me in places of worship and with survivors of domestic and sexual violence. But in his real job, he is the education specialist at Beth Israel Medical Center. He's been there for 18 years. What he did not say in his bio is that he was the recipient of a Martin Luther King Community Service Award through the hospital, of which we're really super proud of him for that. So I want to introduce to some and present to others Ronald C. Mays.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I hope you can hear me. Thank you, Tracy, for that introduction. I'm excited to be here on behalf of Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center and its community partnerships. As stated in my bio, I have volunteered in domestic and sexual violence prevention and intervention work for the past 10 years or so, in part because I believe in the importance of supporting victims and survivors, and because I wholeheartedly believe that with community education and information sharing, we can ensure that there are fewer instances of domestic and sexual violence. No one is exempt from domestic or sexual violence or from knowing someone who has experienced it firsthand. We continue to hear numerous cases of domestic and sexual assault, and sadly, there are a number of undocumented reports. Common reactions are fright, fear, or hopelessness, self-doubt, or self-blame. Or there is the loss of trust in others and in the world that we live in. It's real, it's important. We at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, we have what's called the Center for Violence Prevention and Recovery, and it is available to everyone of any culture, any gender, age, sexual orientation, gender identity, or religion. But it is important to educate our young men and women to recognize areas and situations that would appear unsafe. I was just sharing with Tracy just a few days ago about a love triangle, if you want to call it that. And as a result of it, of the three, all deceased. They were not from low-income communities. 2 of them had formal trainings and were actually educators in the public school system. 1 being the accused. A call was placed to the police from one of the victims, and reports say that there was no evidence of any kind of threat. Let's think about that for a minute, considering the end result. Darnell had spoke earlier about stories of ride-sharing assaults. Ride-sharing is a wonderful thing, and I even took it over here this afternoon until something happens.
Absolutely.
What do we know about the individual behind the wheel? Nothing. When I get into a vehicle, I send a text to someone. Why? So at least now there's a trail as to where I'm going, and somebody else other than me and Lyft or Uber knows that I'm in this vehicle. Information is key. Conversations about domestic and sexual assault prevention is a must. We must have these conversations on how to keep ourselves safe, because the next life that we save might be our own. Finally, I'd like to congratulate Tracy and the team for a successful completion of the culturally specific sexual assault brochure. And I am sure that this information is disseminated throughout the community and will make a world of difference in the lives of the readers. So please be sure to share the information that you received today.
Thank you. So before I invite our next speaker up to the podium, I wanted to draw your attention to something that I was so excited about when we started working on this brochure. How many of you have seen these before throughout the community? Everywhere you go, right? The whole city is covered in postcards. I don't care where you go, hair salons, barber shops, restaurants, anywhere you go, you can find these kinds of postcards. I tried not to pick any that were inappropriate, but usually they have women on them that are rather scantily dressed and they're advertising some party or some event. They are everywhere. So when we started thinking about what our brochure would look like for this project, we wanted something that was going to resonate with the community. So if you've asked yourself, why does it look like a postcard? That's exactly why it looks like a postcard. Because we feel like we can weave these into the community, and because people are just so used to the whole postcard concept, they will pick it up because, one, it says warning on the front, and two, because it looks like something that's already familiar to them. And so I go to Morning Star Baptist Church, that's where I serve as a reverend. When I come out of church on a Sunday, it is nothing to have 4 or 5 postcards under my windshield wipers. Of stuff that people are advertising and events they're hosting and whatever. So obviously it is the language and the form of communication that our community appreciates. So to that end, that is exactly why we designed a brochure that looks like a postcard, because we knew that it would resonate with them. So that was just a little feedback. I wanted you to know that that's why we did it the way that we did it. And it just so happens to have come out amazing. So I'm going to ask another young lady to come to the podium to share a few words with us. I wanted the voice of a millennial in the room. And so I invited a young woman who's a rising senior at Perry College, and she couldn't come because she had an exam. So I told my daughter, this person cannot come, I need you to step in. And she said, okay, Mom. So she's here. She's here, and so I'll allow her to introduce herself. She's
Thanks for calling me out. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Kyla Antoine, and I'm a rising sophomore at the University of Massachusetts Boston campus. I am certainly no stranger to the Urban League, and less of a stranger to the topics of domestic violence and sexual assault. These topics have been a part of my vocabulary and my life in general since I was able to talk. Today I stand in place of another college student that was scheduled to speak, but wasn't able to be here due to exams. I was honored to step in her place. Statistics suggest that 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men will be a victim of sexual assault in their lifetime. As a women's gender and sexuality major at UMass Boston, I hope to be on the front line working alongside my mom and other great men and women in this work so that we might get to a place in our society where, rather than saying me too, we're calling the movement not me or you ever. Congratulations to my mom and to her team on the amazing brochure that everyone has seen, on 5 years of programming in our city, and to all the victims and survivors who are courageous enough to share their stories. Let's keep celebrating them. Thank you so much.
all right, thank you so much. And so now I'm going to introduce to some, present to others, a gentleman who is the son of one of my training partners. But even if he were not, I would say that he is absolutely phenomenal at what he does. And when you hear him, you're going to say, she's right. He is a spoken word artist. He's also an entrepreneur. He has a restaurant that is located on Warren Street. That's right, Warren? Even though, yeah, I drive past it almost every day, but that's Warren Street. I don't know what else to say. He's amazing. That's what I want to say. He's just absolutely amazing. So I'm going to let you hear him for yourself. Decide for yourselves. Don't invite him to anything in October because I have him all booked up for the rest of my tour this month. But yeah, Donnell. He's amazing.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Let's go read the record down into space. Y'all all right?
Yes.
Y'all all right?
Yes.
Somebody didn't say nothing. I think it was you. Y'all all right? I'm Brother D, the People's Poet, aka the Street Minister. I'm getting a little comfortable. The brochure says warning, so I'm gonna tell you warning before I begin. The material should be read only if you are human. It's very interesting. If you are 18 and older, if you have family or friends, if you are 18 and younger, if you care for anyone, this impacts you. That's all of us, right? Can I get a volunteer? Thank you. You're so nice. Just hold that for me.
Okay.
Can I get a water back there?
No, don't worry, I got you.
Y'all have to forgive me. I like to be interactive with the crowd, if you will. What I do is can only be decent if you're involved, right? Okay. What's your name? Cristal. Like Cristal.
Just checking. I don't want you.
You know, we live in a society that promotes some things that really ain't right. Dig this, my man, because I might say it twice to you. You see, whether you are a male or a female, I'm sure this can refer to you. Because when we turn the TV on, the television, or the news, if you want to be a superstar, there's a couple of things that you must do. As a matter of fact, take your shirt off and just show a little bit of that cleavage. Drop it like it's hot, and they'll start screaming. But then we ask ourselves, what type of society do we want? What type of society do we need? But I'm trying to be a superstar. Surely, in order for you to do that, you can no longer be free. So you got to be a slave to society. Disrespect yourself and allow yourself to be treated as property. But damn, I'm just trying to be me. You know, she has a wonderful voice, but all that little shaking, I'm not going to say her name, but I think it's mistaken because surely we have vultures around. Cristal, how you doing? Can I get you a drink? Watch out now, because he might be trying to slip you a Mickey. You see, he walked smooth and he had a nice stare. As a matter of fact, he had some bling on. You said, oh, look at his long hair. But all the time, he was trying to prey on you. Damn, boo, can I speak to you for a moment or two? And then we drop our guard. Now, why, in fact, do we do that? Because surely you should have understood that this cat must have something wrong in store. Why? Because he said, boo, that there should have closed the door. Or perhaps he's going to call you a baby girl. Well, I ain't never been a baby girl. I'm 20-something years old. Why are you calling me baby? As a matter of fact, you should be calling me a strong black lady, but surely maybe you're trying to do something else to me. But sometimes we don't think about those things when we happen to be, drop it like it's hot, I will buy you a drink. But what in fact does a drink cost? What in fact tomorrow can you say you lost? Was it your decency, your self-respect? Damn, let me check. So I have a simple philosophy that I say to my little sister, see, because I have no daughters. But perhaps I have 1,000 of them because we say we're all in a village, you dig? See, we go out on a Friday night or perhaps it's Sunday. You got $20 in your pocket and you're trying to have a little bit of fun, say. But then the cat comes up to you and say, can I buy you a drink? You say, oh yeah, because you're trying to hold that 20. Think, is it really that serious? Now this here defines, or should I say, can go to both men and women. Because in 2019, we can all become their victims. You see, they can slip you to Cosby, and I mean no disrespect. But surely, just because you might be a man, don't think they won't try to get you too. You see, there was a muscle-bound cat, I forget the cat name, but he's in the film industry. And he said, the guy came up to me and he grabbed my couch. I wanted to knock him out, but then I had to stop because I did not want to be the angry black man. Damn, I can't understand. Because surely in that particular instance, I might have failed my man because I might have had to hit that man because why are you accosting me? All because you feel as though I want to be in your industry? If I got to sit on the director's couch, I'm sorry, no doubt. That's one movie I won't be in. You see, this pertains to both men and women. Whether it be your daughter, your sister, or your friend. So when you happen to go out to the club, think for a moment or two. What is that real cat asking you when he says, can I buy you a drink or two? That's it. So,
Right? Amazing.
if not now, when? Every black man, please stand up. I said, excuses we have no time for, hard times to give it. Failure needed to see success, freedom, justice, and equality, the mission. Black man, you better listen. I mean, observe an atmosphere that we assist in making. When our rightful position we hesitate in taking. Our women turn into themselves full of making, or jump into the other side void of hesitation. But then what's to be expected if the black woman has to cook and bring home the bacon? Or wear shades and extra foundation to cover a beating she's taken, she's feeling forsaken. Raising a young soldier on her own because too many black men are vacant. If not now, when? Will every black man please stand up? I said, excuses we have no time for, hard times to give it. Failure needed to see success, freedom, justice, and equality, the mission. Black man, you better listen. What is the cost when you decide not to be the boss? What is the cost when you decide you're going to be lost? When our sisters are disrespected, when our sisters are molested, when our sisters are raped and their innocence taken, and we sit back and we're not even shaking. As a matter of fact, we're not even looking. Because it wasn't my daughter, it wasn't my sister, and it wasn't my niece. Come on, man, I got beef. You see, I got beef with all my brothers who stand. But surely when the crime happens, we disappear, fam. There has to become a time in our society when we say, not today, not tomorrow, not yesterday, and not next year. You see, if the black man stands up, surely pedophiles, rapists, murderers will live in fear. Because they'll know you can't do that type of thing around here. Because we got black men that are stronger than Superman, and for us, there is no fear. Because Almighty God rocks with us day by day and year by year. If not now, when? Will every black man please stand up? I get it, and I'm so happy. You see, because no one got confused. You didn't think this was a rhetorical question because you stood up, so obviously I'm talking to you. You see, you understand that we have a mission. We have a desire. We have a need to stand up and lead. Black men, please turn around. Look at these sisters. And I need you to repeat after me. I am here for you.
I am here for you.
As you've always been for me.
As you've always been for me.
And I will protect you.
And I will protect you.
That's it. Okay, now this one, I'm sorry, but I gotta go off topic a tiny bit because the mic is my pulpit in all intents aspects of the word. So if you can allow me to just give you something that is very close to my heart, I gotta do it everywhere I go because that's how I feel about it. So this is called A Letter to God. And if you haven't written one, I suggest you do so. You can be Muslim, Christian, Jew, Buddhist, whatever. You just can't be atheist because then you're not believing, right? So you have to believe in something that is greater than you, right? So with whomever you may classify and whomever you may call him and or her to be, You write the letter and listen to the instructions. Listen to the instructions. This is the only way it's going to work. I tried, believe me. You write the letter, put it in an envelope. No postage, nothing on the front. You want to tear it up in real tiny, tiny, tiny pieces. You got to wait for a very windy day, and you just throw it in the air. And he's going to get it, right? So this is my letter to God. Hey, yo, Pops. You know, I hope you received this letter. But alas, even that hope speaks to my ignorance to your very existence. I mean, have you not heard my request long before I even wrote it? Are you not the all-knowing and the all-wise? Well, of course you are. Nevertheless, Jehovah, I'm going to send this letter out to you. You see, Jesus, I know not what to believe. Some say if I'm not Christian, then I will never see the kingdom of heaven, or should I say the promised land. They say, hold up. Watch out for that cat, Brother D. He once walked with Farrakhan. He may still be a heathen. I mean, either way it goes, Lord, I don't know. You see, history and tradition at this time have been written and dictated by my foe. Regardless, still, Pops, I feel it's all the same. So, Yahweh, may I ask you the reason for my pain? You see, I was born in this world, Pops, and I had no choice. The descendant of slaves, a soul with no voice. I mean, what did my people do to receive such a fate? No life without struggle? What lives did we take? I mean, we must have taken millions and enslaved even more. Why else would our God leave us on these hellish shores? But my research, see, has not revealed such truths. For my people since Cush have worshipped you as youths. We've been a peaceful and obedient people, fearful of you. So my question again, Jesus, what did my people do? I mean, what did we do to be stripped of our names? What sin was so great that you made us all slaves? I mean, why indeed, Father, you deliver us to the belly of the beast? Hey, Allah, I need answers, for I can't find peace. You know, the slave ship was named Jesus, and then they said that was your only begotten son. Picture that. I mean, why does it seem you stand idle while Satan has his fun? I mean, am I committing blasphemy because they say you're the reason that we're free? I mean, surely we've survived slavery and a whole lot more. But was it not written in the good book that you would not ignore? The children of Israel to whom you gave the covenant. Put that on pause. It's important to know a quick little thing here. The lost sheep of the house of Israel, those who were enslaved for over 400 years in a foreign land. You see, that doesn't describe Egyptians from thousands of years ago. It doesn't describe anyone in the world, with the exception of those who came through the African diaspora, which would include African Americans, the United States of America, which would include our Haitian brothers and sisters, which would include your Dominicans, which would include all of your islanders in terms of Jamaicans, Trinidadians. You understand what I'm saying? All those that got snatched from the west coast of Africa, brought over here and enslaved over 400 years and dropped throughout all the Caribbean islands. Yes. You dig? So when I see my Puerto Rican brother, my Dominican brother, and my Cape Verdean sister, and all them cats, we all, boom, that lost sheep that talks about. Those who were enslaved for over 400 years in a foreign land. You dig? Because we still got PTSD, post-traumatic slavery syndrome. Right. Now, if that be the place, Pops, can you please explain? I'm talking about the murdering of our legions, the bludgeoning of our souls, the rape of our women, the survivors turning to whores, the breakdown of the black man and the breakdown of the black family. You see, I'm talking about the Tuskegee experiment, cocaine, and HIV. And on top of that, how about the miseducation of all those that might even slightly resemble me? Am I praising you wrong, Father? Have I been fooled? Have you abandoned me, Almighty God? For surely we haven't abandoned you. You see, throughout all our trials and still more tribulations, we give glory to God. Hallelujah, Allahu Akbar. Void of hesitation. Still we are wrongfully imprisoned, murdered, and brainwashed. All respect due to a Jew, but it's 2019 and I'm living a black man's Holocaust. Father, I need some answers and I need them quick because this burden on my back has got your baby boy sick. Thank you.
Let the church say amen. Amen, amen again. Amen. I told you he was amazing. Did I say it?
Yes,
He's amazing. He's
amen.
absolutely amazing. So thank you so much, Donnell.
Thank you.
I have no words for the experience you take me on every time I hear you. It's like a journey. And that's why I think when you ended the first time, we were all like, what am I saying? Oh, is that it? Oh, sorry. Because you just take us on a journey. It's absolutely amazing. So thank you again so much. Before we offer you dessert and our brochures, I want to invite my team up and introduce them because I didn't do that this morning. Tisha, Gary, Tanya, Siobhan. I don't do this work by myself. I could never do this work by myself. I would be crazy if I tried to do this work by myself. And I'm crazy, and I still have their help, and I'm still crazy. But, and just this morning we were talking about grants that we wrote in February that we'll be hearing about somewhere around the end of September, early October. And I was sharing with the team all the ideas that we told the federal government we would do. When you write grants, you have to propose the work that you want to be funded for. And so, in looking back at it, I said to them, I was reading through them recently and thinking, what did we say that for? We're going to do that? We're going to do what? But immediately, they were so not moved. They were like, oh, we got that. We're going to do this, 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 and this. We're going to do this, this, and this. We'll share it. It'll happen this way. And that's why they all are a part of this work with me, because no matter how crazy my ideas get, they just jump right in and say, let's make it happen. So Tisha, Gary, Siobhan, Tanya, will you come up? Letitia Adams. 20-year.
I just have one thing to say before she goes. That's my nephew.
Tisha's retired from Boston Police Department. She served 20 years as a sergeant detective over various units, including domestic violence, sexual violence, the gang unit. And she tried to retire, and I said, oh, Tisha, could you help me out with my project? And she did. She came and helped me. She actually is a Floridian now. She lives in Florida, but she comes back and forth. Who does that? Like, yeah, she comes back and forth to do this work with me, and I'm so extraordinarily grateful for her and all that she brings to this work. And then Reverend Adams, who's her brother, also is retired from Boston Police Department, 32-year veteran of the Boston Police Department, now serves as the chaplain for BBT, serves on various roundtables around the city of Boston, is a reverend at Morning Star Baptist Church. He too tried to retire, and I said, oh, I need some help with this project, Gary, can you give me a hand? And so here he is. I'm not hearing any of that.
I'm retiring, I'm getting ready to go to Florida and just chill, but anyways. But that's Darnell is my son. You can see the looks, right? You looking like a what?
You do.
I can't deny him.
No, you cannot.
And I'm not going to talk long because I don't want to put him to shame. No, but it's just a pleasure to be a part of something so dynamic and so important as domestic violence and sexual assault. I think bringing more men to the forefront to realize that oftentimes it's not so much a woman's issue as a man's issue that impacts women. So I just think that oftentimes the men have to step more up, make other men accountable, change the whole culture, the way we look at males and females. And today, sadly, that even the females are being caught up in a culture that misrepresents who they are. So all of that combined as we go forward, and just trying to be harbingers or people who blow the horn for the battle against domestic violence and sexual assault. So.
And next to Gary is Siobhan Williams. Siobhan, I'm not even sure how we met. Isn't that funny? I don't know the answer to that.
We met when you guys were having an event in October of 2015, and you were doing a training here, and you already had a partnership with Casa Myrna, and you reached out about having someone come and talk more about domestic violence, and I came. And that was
Isn't
the
that
beginning.
funny? She's like an appendix. I feel like she's always been with me. That is so amazing. I don't remember any of that, but wow. So Siobhan is an advocate, a domestic violence advocate for Casa Myrna, and has been with us since the project's inception 5 years ago. And literally, there is no time that I call her that she doesn't drop whatever she's doing and get to me for whatever the needs of our clients are. And so she's furthering her education in this work, and yeah, she's a minister in her own right, and so we're super proud to have her as part of our team and is one of our training partners. And then there's Tanya Kibbe. Tanya is our project coordinator on the project.
Tanya's the tallest one here.
Tanya has been working with me now for the past 18 months. It's almost 2 years. Time is flying so fast. She came into this work with me because I desperately needed her. I said, I really, really need some help, and she said, what can I do? And literally has been saying that to me ever since. She worked tirelessly on putting today's event together, on our brochure, on getting all of the giveaways, on getting the food, on you know, I will say of myself, and people in this room who really know me know it's true, I'm super hard on me, so I demand a lot from everybody else, because it's just the nature of the beast for me. I've been up since 3 o'clock this morning, like that's normal for me. I get up, I pray, and I'm ready to roll. And so, so I demand a lot. So from this group of people to just even put up with me the way that they do, and you know, and let me be me and get this work done, I'm so eternally grateful to all of you. Because I honestly could not do it by myself. And so, if you think you like this work, or you think you might be interested in this work, and you're finishing, those of you that are program participants here at Urban League, you know, come and see us. We're always looking for volunteers and for people to help us. And truthfully, I'm trying to work my way out of this business. I love this work, but you know, I don't see myself doing this, not even for 5 more years. I'm gonna pastor, and I'm gonna move on from this, and so I'm looking for somebody else to carry the mantle so that I can go on and do other things. So.
And I was only kidding, Donna, you're a better speaker than me.
Not my fault.
So thank you all so much for being here on today. To my Morningstar family friends that are here today, we love you so much. To my real family, my biological family that's here, thank you. To my girlfriend Debbie, Pastor Debbie Randolph, Dr. Debbie Randolph that's in the back of the room, thank you so much for being here. And to all of you, the participants, to Jackie George, who is our CFO, all of you who are program participants, I imagine have met her at some point in time, who again, since I've been here for 5 years, stands by everything that I do. And every grant, she's been here till the lights go off. Sometimes it'd be me and Jackie walking in the parking lot all by ourselves. she's rubbed my back while I cried over stuff. Yeah, seriously, like, so I'm eternally grateful for you, Jackie, and to Darnell, who had to run off, but again, who accepted this partnership, who knew nothing of my work in domestic violence, but the day I came to him and said, will you partner with me? I want to do this at Urban League, but I need fiscal conduit as well as the platform of Urban League. He said, absolutely, let's get it done. And we've been getting it done ever since. We are almost in our 4th and 5th grant, if I'm not wrong, Jackie, which will place us at $1.5 million in federal funding in 5 years. Obviously, I could not do that by myself. So thank you all so much. And thank you all so much. We have dessert. If you can possibly get anything else, we have dessert. We're gonna put it out there for you. But please get a hat, and more than getting a hat, please get a brochure and make sure you share it with somebody. And expect to see them around the community. And then when you do, you can say, "Oh, I was there when they launched that." I gotta go downstairs.
Thank you.
Oh, you didn't want me to carry your plate? Oh, I got it.
It's a Blue Ribbon Day. You get the word. Don't be nice.
And let's give her a card and see how this could work with them. But she just left. No, she's still coming back. Yeah.
Somebody else is a jacket.
Sunday. That's hot.
But that's the hot. Every place is different. Oh, yeah, yeah. I was telling somebody on my birthday,